language domains. So I'll show some different examples of how I've used my little talking face to incorporate our reading, writing, speaking, and listening skills. And I've just found that it's a great support and kind of scaffold for our ESL learners, and it's also super engaging. They love hearing a talking head than me actually standing there or videotaping myself telling them what to do or what to write. So it is engaging and fun for them. So just very quickly, if you're familiar how to make the little Memoji face talk, here are the quick steps on how to do so. So you would, oh, here, wait, I saw you. First, let's take a look at the steps you will use to create your Memoji video and share it with your iPad or laptop. We all love listening to the recordings. Oh, but so you would open up the messages on your iPhone and like you were going to compose a message, and you tap the little emoji button, the Animoji button. You can swipe to pick your Memoji or Animoji, and then record like you were sending a message. And when it sends, you can just do one of two things. If you have like a work laptop, you can hold on to that Memoji video and save it to your camera roll and airdrop it, or you can send it through iMessage to your device as well. And now I just want to share some ideas and activities that my kiddos do to hopefully spark some ideas that you guys can use in your school district. So I use my Memoji a lot to just deliver instruction. And this was in a digital activity book that I've created. Throughout the school year, I create weekly digital literacy learning activity books for my students. Here's one example of an activity, and the little Memoji face is just delivering the instructions. And the cool thing about creating this video is it's a built-in support for our ELL students, or maybe students that just need to hear the directions multiple times before completing the activity. Now it's your turn. Find colors around your house. Use the camera on your iPad and take a picture of something that's red, something green, and something blue. Add your pictures to this page. Then create an audio recording describing the things you found. So just very simple, a digital scavenger hunt, something the students would do around the room, around their house. But they get to hear the instructions from Mrs. Gardner's face. Here's another example of how we would deliver instructions. This was an activity we did in class. This was a letter learning digital activity. And here, they just watched. We can find the letter A all around us. Find something that begins with the letter A and take a picture of it with your camera. Tap the media placeholder and upload your picture. Then find the letter A in a text. This could be in a book. Take a picture of it. Tap the other media placeholder and add this picture. So just very simple delivering instructions. I also use it in teaching videos. Here's an example. I create weekly teaching videos using clips. It's kind of a video series called I Can with Clips for my earliest learners, usually my kindergarten students. I'll roll these out to them. And it used the gradual release model with pictures from my middle Memoji, and it shows the students what we're learning. It asks them to do it with me on the iPad or follow along with me on the iPad. And then the little flip lesson at the end is for them to do it by themselves at home and either create a video showing me what they know or writing pencil to paper, take a picture and send it to me. And we do use Seesaw to deliver virtual assignments to our students and receive them back. So here's just a quick example. I can with clips. Learn the letter T. I do. Listen and learn. The letter is T. T says T. T says T. Now say it with me. T. T says T. T says T. Watch me as I write a capital T and a lowercase t. For the capital T, I go straight across on the top line. Then I go straight down to the bottom line in the middle. For the lowercase t, I start at the top, go straight down to the bottom line, pick up my pencil, put it on the middle dotted line, and go straight across. Now, let's try it together. Now do it with me. Put your finger on the purple dot and trace along on the iPad as it guides you in writing a capital T and a lowercase t. You do. Now you try it all by yourself. Now it's your turn. Get a pencil and a paper and write 3 capital T's and 3 lowercase t's. Take a picture with the camera on your iPad to share with me. Also, create an audio recording saying the letter name and sound.
So that was just a quick example. I've done one for all the letters, and then because a lot of my kindergarten ESL students really come not even knowing how to hold a pencil, so I have one that's just showing me how to hold the pencil correctly, and it models it, and then take a picture of yourself holding the pencil correctly and send it to me. It might be showing me a reading strategy using a book at home where I model it, they do it with me, and then they are supposed to create a video to send back to me. So just using the little Memoji pictures and talking head to give the directions. And this was used with clips. This was created with clips, which I love for my students because I'm able to add those Spanish titles at the bottom to really support the learning at home if they need those. Here's another example of something I created in Keynote and shared with the students called Listen, Draw, and Talk. And so they're listening to the Memoji give them directions of what to draw into the picture. And here I really can incorporate all sorts of things from different content areas like vocabulary, numbers, positional words. And then once they draw their picture, according to what they hear, they would create an audio recording telling me what they drew. So practicing those speaking skills as well.
In the desert, I see 3 white, fluffy clouds in the sky.
Oh.
I see a small green turtle beside the cactus. I see a big red snake slithering in the sand. There is a bright yellow sun shining in the sky, and 3 bluebirds flying high.
I've also incorporated some QR codes throughout the presentation. If you'd like to scan them, and you can have access to any of these activities if you want to look at them at a later time. I also am more than happy to share anything that we do or I create through QR codes or through emails. So feel free to reach out. Here's another example in one of our digital activity books. This one is on positional words. So the students would hear the cat tell a story, and then they would tap on the pictures at the bottom of the screen and move them into the picture according to what they hear. Just really simple, another way to kind of give directions and practice those listening skills.
One night, Sam lost his tooth. He put it under his pillow. His soccer ball was in front of the bedroom slippers. His books were on top of the shelf.
So this is just an example too of how you can use the animals. It doesn't always have to be your face, which is also engaging for the students. And then here they would once again tap on the picture, drag and move it into the big picture to show me how they understand and practice those listening skills using positional words. This is actually one of my centers in my classroom. I created this on Keynote called Building Bright Listeners. So it's a listen, build, and then describe using manipulatives in the classroom. And this could be here, it's school tools or school objects. This was at the beginning of the year. Now we do a lot with Legos too. So they might be listening to Mrs. Gardner tell them how to build a scene with the Legos. And then they take a picture of it, put it on this Keynote slide here, and then they create an audio recording describing what they built.
Put the books in the middle of the table. Put the pencil on top of the books. Put the crayons on the left side of the books.
So once again, when creating these, I try to purposely use those positional words, on top, left, right, beside, between, to practice those special words. And once again, at the center, the students don't need me to be there to dictate the directions over and over and over again. They can just listen to the video, which is really nice because then I'm able to either have a guided group or facilitate around the room. Here's an example of how the Memoji would just dictate sentences. This is a digital activity book I created on community helpers. So this was for our community helpers unit. You can scan the QR code and have access to the whole digital book if you would like. And in the book, it really builds up in activities according to the language domains. So here they would be listening to the Memoji tell them what sentences to write, pencil to paper. They tap that media placeholder, take a picture of their writing, and place it here. So I try really hard to create blended learning activities where everything's not on the iPad. They're not always writing on the iPad, which they do, but they are also using the iPad prompts and digital guides to create those pencil to paper products, and then sharing them with me a lot of times through using these media placeholders.
Number 1, he is a doctor. Number 2, the chef makes food.
So there's usually 3 sentences, and the students can listen to it as many times as they need to, and then write those complete sentences. And there's a vocabulary page in that digital literacy book to help them if they need that support. And it's a great way too to incorporate our sight word practice. Here is my classroom and my vocabulary center. It looks like this. It's purposely placed underneath my sight word wall. And it's usually kind of the same format. I just change out the QR codes. So students go over there, they get their clipboard, their writing paper, and an iPad. They scan the QR code usually there's 4 or 5, and then up pops the video of me telling them the sight word sentence with our content vocabulary word to write. And I purposely place it under our sight word wall. I call it our buzzwords. So they have that support there. And then here on the picture, they have the picture. This is our needs and wants unit. We usually do this around Christmas time, and they can listen to the Memoji dictate that sentence for them to write as many times as they need to. And this is the center they can do with a partner or by themselves.
I need a house.
So just an example of a way you can incorporate it into your centers. Once again, I don't have to be there telling them what to write. They should not have to ask me, what do I do? How do I write these words? Because everything should be there to support them. You could also use the Memoji as a fluency practice. So here is another page from one of our digital literacy books about body parts. And here I would have the students practice reading a poem that incorporates this content vocabulary by themselves. And then they can tap on the Memoji and listen to the Memoji read it, and then try it again. So before they record themselves. hopefully reading it as fluently as they could. So it's just another support if they need that when they're practicing fluency.
Me. This is me. From my head to my toes, I have 2 eyes.
And a side note here, when I've used this, because this is part of all of our digital literacy books, so I do have a Memojis sometimes, but I have also shown my students how to highlight the text and choose the speak accessibility feature, which is great. So when they're doing this at home, a lot of them now, instead of listening to the Memoji, they use that feature. So they try and read it. If they're not sure or they need a little extra help, they can highlight it, touch speak, hear it read aloud to them, and then try and record themselves reading it fluently. We also use our little Memojis in augmented reality. I love augmented reality. I think it's super fun and engaging for the students, and I love incorporating it to practice and help us support our literacy and language domains. So here's 2 different examples. One is using an AR app called Roar. It kind of reminds me of Erasma, which I used to love, or HP Reveal. And unfortunately, that's gone. So I found this Roar app recently, and it reminds me a lot of it. So I was super excited. So here's an example of how we've used it recently.
Socks. We have 2 socks. We have 2 socks.
So just a fun way, I made my little Memoji person look like a wizard, and I had a sparkly wand and thought, well, it'd be so much cooler for them to hear this writing wizard tell them what to write using cut up sentences around the room and some picture vocabulary cards than me. So they thought that was super cool. I've also used it, I don't know if you can see around my classroom, I have little bumblebees, and I will use Talking Photos app, which is kind of like ChatterPix, but it's a lot better. And I'll make the bumblebees come to life and talk and tell them different directions or different sentences to write, which is really fun. And it's kind of a behavior management because they think the bees on the wall are watching them and talking to them. But it's super fun. And here I used just Memoji or Animoji pictures and some feelings words. I put them into Keynote, exported them, and used them in AR Maker. And I showed the students how to create their own augmented reality around the room. And then they talked about the animals, describing them using those feeling words. And then we also wrote sentences about them. So here's an example.
The mouse is sneaky. The rabbit is scared. The cow is excited. The pig is worried. The owl is scared.
Almost.
Surprised.
There we go. So that was neat because the students had to match the feelings word with the Animoji pictures, and then they were able to place them around the room. And then they created an audio recording, a video using complete sentences describing how each animal was feeling using those words. And then they were also asked to write sentences. And they had the supports there with the feeling words and the augmented reality scene, which was really fun for them as well. And then just lastly, this is a a way I've used the Animoji or the Memoji pictures and talking head just to check in on my students. I did this a lot last year when we were all remote during the spring, because we know it's super important just to see how they're doing, especially you guys know all for being all virtual still. So here they just saw different pictures of my little Animoji and then a talking head telling them to please create a video telling me how you're feeling and why. Just a quick Friday feeling check-in.
Create a video telling me about how you feel today. Be sure to explain your answer. For example, I feel angry because I forgot my lunchbox at home.
So that's pretty much all I had to share. Just hopefully you have some couple ideas of how you can use this simple tool, that's already on your phone or your device to really engage and excite in the learning, either in the remote virtual environment. If you ever, return back to hybrid, maybe some ideas of how you could use it with your kids and really create, those fun supports and activities.
Thank you so much.
I can also share real quick. Here's an example, Tamara, I'm sorry, of the community helpers. Like this is kind of the layout of all of our digital activity books. So when the students are listening for sentences to write, they can go back to this vocabulary page and they have that support. And all of these books are done virtually. So all of the students are asked to complete the workbooks for the activity books during their virtual days at home. So I'm able to, during our hybrid learning and we're face-to-face, introduce the new vocabulary, and then at home, they're asked to complete the task to support the learning. So hopefully that makes a little bit more sense.
Totally. I think this is amazing. I don't know about you guys, but I want to put my Memoji somewhere right now to talk. Yeah, what ideas are sparking? It'd be good to hear. What are we thinking?
I like the idea of using the Memoji to give the directions. I used to just type the directions, on the template for whatever I was doing, but, hearing it or use the record audio, but I like the, use of using the Memoji to talk and give the directions. I think that's a great idea. And that's something I want to try on the next activity that I do with my students is, putting it on there. So I love that idea.
Cool, thanks. It's super fun and engaging for them. They're like, it's you, but it's not you. Like, oh my gosh. Just hearing it come from a cow's face, it's like, okay.
And to be honest, I've also used it, way back when we first started the pandemic, because I was having those bad hair days and I was like, I don't want to face. Let me use the Memoji this time because my hair is just, crazy today. So.
Yep. And it would be a great way too. I don't know about you guys, but if you needed the directions, in Spanish, you could have an audio recording in English and then the Memoji in Spanish. If they need that support. I know my students, that helps them a lot.
Antonio, did you want to share your Memoji? He did this awesome one. I'm putting him on the spot, but he did a tech tip using his Memoji. And
yeah, so I've done that too with the ed tech tips, in clips and combining the Memoji. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, so let's see. Let me hear that. So.
Mr. Barrio here with your weekly ed tech tip.
And I just used it before with, like you said, with combining it with
This
clips.
week's
I didn't, I'm not going to play the whole clip because it's just on how to show Zoom. I think the very beginning was it. But yeah, I've used it with clips too, giving directions to students. I wonder if I have any of those. But I like using the Memoji, and I use it all across as like my default picture too, everywhere I go. So.
Yeah.
That's like my thing now. So, and I just love it. So Yeah, Tamara. I'll see if I can find another example while I'm digging through all my stuff on my clips. If I have another one I can share.
Yeah, and in clip, did you make it actually in clips where you can just put your Memoji right within clips? You didn't have to like do any extra exporting.
Yeah, no, it's right in clips. You can use it.
It's in clips, but the thing is, I had to use my other iPad, the Pro one that I have, because that was the one with the you know how like there's that option with the I don't know how to explain it. Like there's an option in there where you can use the Memoji in clips, but I think it's only on certain iPads. If I understand that.
Cool. I love it. Thank you for sharing, Tony.
Yeah.